Hi, we'll begin today's demo by looking at things from the customer's perspective within Kloudville's B2B self-service portal. I'm going to log in as a client here, cloudvilledemo@gmail.com. And you can see it's actually Francisco, who works for Visa Biera. And they're brought into their account where they can change their contact details or the locations, contacts, billing, account information, communication preferences. They have an access to the dashboard where they can go in and take a look at subscriptions or invoices, for example. Make payments on those if they choose to. So we are PCI certified, for example. Oops, new card. So we take credit card, online payments, pre-authorized payments, the works. So they can manage their accounts, take a look at their subscriptions and their orders through that portal. We're going to focus today on the shopping experience. So the customer is going to place an order for a video conferencing service. So we'll shop. We've got a choice of multiple catalogs. So there's some marketplace catalogs where partners can onboard their products and sell them through yourself. In this case, let's just take the traditional catalog. And we're going to go to the business portion, corporate, IoT, surveillance and inspection. And you can see we've got categories here. We're going to order a plan, like a video surveillance service. We're going to order some 5G connectivity for that service. And we're going to order the video cameras on top of that. So let's go in and take a look at the plans. We've got fixed camera surveillance, incident response, infrastructure inspection. Maybe I don't know what I'm looking for. So you're going to see typical e-commerce functionality here. We can compare the products, compare them, show the differences across all groups, and you can see the attributes that are different, simultaneous connections and the priority of the service and the positioning support, all of that type of stuff. But we're interested today in the fixed camera surveillance. So we'll customize that product. And we've got one add-on here, and it's premium support. So let's select that, add it, and it's been added to the cart. Now we can continue to shop. Can order other products, all of that type of stuff. In this case, I'm going to go in and order the connectivity. And we've got a pre-configured slice here. We're going to customize that. And in this case, the only attribute we're exposing for customization is the region. So in this case, we're going to go to Portugal, across all Portugal. But if we wanted to hit other areas, we could do that. And we're in the cart. Now let's go back in and take a look at the camera. So we'll order the camera, a 4K camera, add that to the cart. So we can add the add-ons. So we can see the composition of the bundles. We can configure the individual products, all of that type of stuff. Now we can go in and add the add-ons. So I'm going to go intrusion detection and maybe object tracking, storage options. We'll pick after hour storage, camera service levels, and let's take silver. Add that to the cart. We've got various terms. We got the bundle, the fixed camera surveillance, the 5G slice, and the camera. And we'll just leave it at that. We could order 2 cameras or multiple cameras, all of that type of stuff. Let's just check this out. And we can provide a PO number, and the requested date, shipping method, we'll continue. Let's select an appointment, and let's say we want it done tomorrow. And we'll continue, place the order, and go back to the orders, sign out. And we'll log in as a back office user. And we've got access to our dashboard, just like the customer has access to its dashboard. The back-end users have their own dashboards. There can be many of them. This one's more operational, showing the different tasks that are available to be worked, all of that type of stuff. we can go through the dashboard, and you can see there's a couple of solution designs for quotes, feasibility assessment, solution acceptance, etc. So now let's take a look at the CRM. So if we take a look in here, we can take a look at Visa Bureau. And we've got similar options here, just a little bit broader. So we can take a look at their credit profile, for example, the dashboard, locations, contacts, notes, their interaction history, any quotes we've sent them, that type of stuff. We take a look at the actual quotes and orders, any contracts they may have, billing, opportunities, case management, projects, subscriptions, appointments, all of that type of stuff. Let's take a look at their order here. And you can see we got a new order. And right now it's in feasibility. We provide you a high-level view of the progress of this order. Behind the scenes is a much more detailed workflow running that I'll show you. And once we decompose the order, we can take a look at a service order and look at the workflow. But this is a high-level status. And behind it, there are tasks. Now I'm logged in as a power user, so I've got access to do basically anything in the system. So I'm going to work this solution feasibility task. And this is all catalog driven. We take a look at the products in the order, and the catalog, the technical portion of the catalog, tells us, you know, what tasks are required, whether we need order approval, design, feasibility, order acceptance, all of that type of stuff. So we're just going to work through this. We're going to complete it, and you can see that we got a solution design task got triggered, and in fact it's here, and pick it up. And you can see on the solution design, rather than opening up the default view, we opened up the cart view. So you have control over what the person who's completing the task sees on the order, so that it can be more streamlined. He's going to complete that. We're going to go to order approval, and I'll just approve this as a matter of course. And again, all of these steps are not required. They're all configured by product. So if there's at least one product on the order that needs approval, we drive the approval flow. So we're going to complete this task, and you'll see underneath the covers the related items. If we look at it, we have service orders. And then this is the subscription for the camera rental, but we've got to provision the camera, the 5G network, and the video surveillance system. So you see the 3 service orders here. They're all waiting on prerequisites, and that's because we haven't done the shipping yet. We want to wait for the camera to get on site, and that's what's holding up the subscription as well. So if we go and take a look at our inventory management, for example. And this could be done by a third-party system, but Kloudville is a full e-commerce platform. So it has inventory, and fulfillment, and actually procurement and supplier management and all of that type of stuff as well. So we'll create a new wave. All the orders. And you can see we created an inventory order, picking list, etc. What this wave does is it collects all of the orders that are outstanding or that need to be fulfilled from the warehouse for that particular location, and we ran this against Lisboa, and now we have our picking list. And if we open the picking list, it's our camera and then no SIM. We can pick them individually, but before we do that, we need to, you can see where we're going to pick them from. Oh, it's in the shipping. I need to do this. So we say complete. We've picked them both. Now it's going to update everything. Now we're going to go into the packing, and you can see our inventory order. So that customer order was decomposed into a service orders and inventory orders. And in fact, if there were digital products like download codes or discount codes, that type of stuff, we also do the digital orders within Kloudville. So we can open that up, and you can see we've got the 2 cameras. We can go in and update, or we need to update the EMEI for this one, and the ICCID for the SIM. Now I can set the status to shipped, update, And now the inventory order has been marked as fulfilled. But now if we go back up into the service orders, let's take a look at our service orders here. Or let's look at the overall. We can see that the status is now shipped. We're activating one of the services, and the other two are waiting on this one. And this is where we've passed an order to Symphonica to do the provisioning. We can see the detailed status behind the scenes. We view the diagram, and we can see that they're waiting for the prerequisites, and then we created a 641 create service order, sent it to Symphonica, and now we're waiting for the response back from Symphonica. So I'm going to hand this over to show you the other side. Thank you.
Okay, now we are on the service order manager side, where Symphonica will be in charge of orchestrating and activating the different network elements necessary for the creation of the slice and the fixed camera for the video surveillance use case. So at this moment we can see that we are receiving the request from Kloudville with the activation service order through the Symphonica northbound interface TMF641. We see that the service orders is processing, and the service order will be in charge of creating the slice with the infrastructure for this use case. We can open the service order and see that it contains the three service order items, one for the allocation of the slice, another one for the activation of the slice, and the last one for the video surveillance to create the account in the NVR platform. We see that the orders are in processing stage, so now we are going to open the flow corresponding to the allocation of the slice to see what it is doing. So we can see the execution of the flow in green, and in yellow that is being executed, and we see that it just has finished its execution, the flow. So now we are going to do a brief review of the actions of the flow that has performed. In the first part of the flow, we see a series of boxes that define the assignment logic of the different run, core, and transport templates, which are the network elements that we are going to activate in this flow. Symphonica has defined a series of network templates, slice templates called Nest, which are based on the models defined by the 3GPP standard, and which have different characteristics to be used in different 5G network slicing applications. Then, based on certain parameters sent by Kloudville BSS, for example user equipment max divisor or downlink and uplink throughput max slice, among others, Symphonica will select the most suitable template for the run, core, and the transport. So after choosing the subnet slice template, we will execute the different commands to the run, core, and the transport in this network slice subnet management function. So the first group of activation commands is for the run. We see this first resource order that is in charge of allocating resources in the run. We can see as the input parameters of the order the different characteristics that were received with values that were taken from the network subnet slice template of the run. We can see also the execution log of the commands in the run controller, where we can see a post-type command with different characteristics to allocate the resource. And as the output parameters, we can see the show ID and the network slice subnet instance ID that were received. So with this show ID, we are going to query the status of the execution of the allocate action to a run controller. We see the flow waiting here for the run controller to respond and the different executions. Here we query the controller and see that it was in the initial state. Then we still query the controller to see that is in the progress state, and finally when the output of the controller has finished, it means that the resources have been allocated correctly in the run and the flow continues its execution. So with the network slice subnet instance ID, we query the run controller to get the point of the interconnection that will be used for the NVR platform to connect the cameras. Finally, the run, the user plane, and the distribute unit are persisted in Sinfonica's inventory in the form of resources. We are also considering in the flow the different errors that may arise, whether they are business or connectivity errors, and we can either open a trial ticket reporting the incident to another external system, or we can roll back and undo the applied network configuration. Here we can see the rollback flow. So once the run resources are allocated in the slide, we continue the flow and we do the same in the core and the transport and the different commands executed, and finally the float ends successfully. So going back to the allocate service order, we can see that the order was previously in progress and now is completed successfully, and that the flows associated with these order items have completed successfully. For example, the first flow for allocating resources in the run, core and transport, has ended. The activation of the slice, activating the run, core and transport, has also finished. And then the account creation on the NVR platform for the video surveillance is finished. So after configuring all the infrastructure, we'll receive another service order from Kloudville, the user connection, containing the information about the cameras and the SIM cards to activate, and also information about optional services. So for the SIM card activation, we will go to the HSS platform to activate the SIM cards, and for the cameras and services to the NVR platform. So now we are going to receive the user connection request. Let's refresh. And we can see it in progress. We refresh again. We can see that it has completed successfully. When we open the service order, we can see this service order item that contains the camera sent by Kloudville. We can open also the flow and see what it did, and we can see that the commands are being executed in the HSS for the creation of the SIM used by the cameras. We have as an input parameter the IMSI and the MSISDN, and the commands executed to create the SIM card. So once the SIM is created, we see that the last step in this flow is the creation of the cameras in the NVR platform. So This is the last step, and finally everything is working. So with this flow, the activation process has concluded, and we can see now how all the information in Sinfonica was persisted in the Sinfonica's inventory. So we are going to go to the customer and see all the services provisioned, and we can see in the inventory the enhanced mobile broadband slice with all the associated attributes, the 3 GPP attributes with the values taken from the selected template. We can see also the different templates of the run, core, and transport that were assigned dynamically based on the parameters received from Kloudville. We can see the video surveillance service here with the associated NVR platform, and the user connection that represent each of the activated cameras with the associated SIM information. So, okay, now let's go back to the BSS side to see how Kloudville finished the whole process.
Now that we've seen how it works in Intraway, once everything's done there, you see that our statuses have been updated. We got the responses back from Sinfonica, and in this PLC we updated the charging and the billing. And you can see that as I'm talking, the new solution acceptance task got generated. These guys are all complete. The customer order saw that all the fulfillment was done, and it's now decided to generate a service acceptance task. And again, this is dependent on the services. It's straightforward. Maybe you don't ask the customer if the service is up and running, but in this case, we will confirm with the customer. And as soon as this solution's been accepted, now we can start the actual billing. So we close that task. It's going to complete this service. If we take a look at the subscriptions here, they're all active, and we're now billing for, in this case, the camera with all of the rental, installation, and services. But the customer, if we take a look over up at the top level, we can look at his subscriptions, which are, hold on a second. Here, you can see he's got his camera is active, the 5G connectivity subscription is active, and the 4K rental. And each one has actions, so we can disconnect, manage or relocate, change the address, the configuration, modify the product, change ownership if one customer buys another. All of the use cases that are required for, but not just normal MACD, but the business-to-business stuff where companies are buying each other and you've got to move stuff around. So that's it for the demo for today.